whichever place in the world it is, all elderly people love to look out the window and see the goings on. The coming and going of the people and the weather events are of great interest to elderly people, and as much so for dementia residents and dementia units, or indeed at their own home. So when looking out the window, they can see the changes in the weather, the rainbows, the lightning, the thunder, the torrential rain, the rain showers, the sunshine, everything that goes on with the rain. Now, in some countries, there may not be much change in weather. Certainly in Christchurch, deep down here at the bottom of the world, the weather changes all the time. It may be a more stable sort of a weather, but still it's interesting. And all the people coming and going are great entertainment for people when they get older. So it's important they have a window and a view to be able to look out, especially a view that they're used to. So if the person, for example, has been on a farm and rice paddies and bamboo and coconuts or whatever it is that they've been harvesting, then if they have a view of that, it's so much better, because then they can reminisce, relax, look at it, enjoy it, and be part of that environment and scenery, and all those good, lovely memories flood back from their life. Now, of course, it may not be possible to get a facility where there is such a view. So one then needs to go to the next step and see, well, what view is it that my mother would like or father would like that they can, enjoy? So if they've been on a farm all their life out in the country, it is important that they get something to look out on, some sort of vegetation, some aspect of nature that they can focus on, even if it's just a tall tree. So that if they're in an apartment block and it's a dementia unit and it's, say, 3rd story up, and there's a big tree out the front that's high enough to go to the 3rd story, or say 2nd story, then, or at least look down onto this big lovely tree. There's a lot of things that go on in a canopy of a tree and from a dementia unit's window. There's the birds coming and going. Sometimes you might see a butterfly. There's planes flying out above, flying above. There's all the rain that goes onto the tree. Then if the tree's leaves fall and flowers come out, like camellias here in New Zealand, that's another wonder. So it's actually quite amazing what little details the dementia residents pick up on just from a lovely tree. So the other aspect is some dementia residents actually like traffic. I don't like traffic, but some people do. At the dementia unit, I worked at, a number of the dementia residents liked traffic, and no doubt all throughout the world they do as well, especially for people that have lived on farms and come to and from the city regularly. They're often in the car and they like to look down and view the cars in the car parking lot. There was one lady where I worked, and she always kept track of the cars just outside her window, and she'd say to me each morning, well, that white truck has been there all morning. She found that interesting. And when I came back in the afternoon, she'd say, that white truck has gone. That old car has been there all day. She really took notice. I mean, she actually had a poor memory and poor direction orientation, but the cars she could clue into any time because she loved driving. She had a lovely car. She was in it all the time. She was very sad when she had to let her car go, but cars were a big thing to her. And so in the dementia unit, she was able to look out the window at the cars, and it was a great interest for her. So if it's a busy apartment block where the dementia unit is, hopefully it's not too noisy and busy, but maybe the person's been used to being amidst traffic and noise all their life if they've lived in a city. So it's just normal to them, and that's fine. I mean, the main thing is that whatever the environment is, that it suits the dementia resident as much as practically possible, that it fits in with their past, their culture, their history, their work life, their home life, everything that's been normalized, familiar and enjoyable for them, as much as that can be recreated in the dementia unit, in the dementia facility, the better, to de-escalate anxiety, to, de-escalate or uplift them from depression, and just keep that stable mood as much as possible. Now, another thing that's very important for rooms in dementia facilities, and overseas the same, anywhere in the world, hot or cold, is door identification. Very important to put the person's name, big letters on the door so they can read it. Practically all dementia residents can read their own name in their own language, and the number of the room, so that when they're going from the lounge or the dining room, they can see which room it is that is theirs. Often it's very small writing and the name's in small and it's hard to read, and that's too difficult. And make sure that it's at eye level, that the notice of the name and number is at eye level of the person. That's very important. So if they're walking along, they can see it straight ahead of them rather than having to look up, which they often don't do. They miss their room and then they're on this, never-ending circular track trying to find their room, and it can be very distressing and upsetting, very, especially if they've got sore hips or knees, or they're breathless and they haven't got the fitness to be able to keep it going, trying to find their room. So do some direction orientation with your parent with the room from along the main aspects of their movements in the day. So if their main walking pattern is from their room to the lounge to their room, which it often is for toileting, etc., then do some practice runs with them and, guide and coach them along the way, like a little bit of training. Okay, Mum, we're going to do some room practice now to get to your room so that you can find it when I'm not here. And she'll be grateful for that. And, from the nurse's station, the nurse's station where all the nurses are. Now, to find your room, this is your room number, your name. We're going to go along all the rooms until you find it. And then we can practice that so that you get the idea of it. And you can put a little sticker on her walker, if she's got one, with her name and number of her room on it. And you'll find ways and means of being able to help her with the direction orientation. But practice and door identification are the two main things. And she will be able to have a relaxed life then. If she can find her room where she can lie down and have a rest or go to the bathroom and have that autonomy and independence, that will go a long way towards her better quality of life in a dementia unit, so that then she can relax. She knows she can get to her room. She doesn't have to keep asking people all the time. And then she can work on other things, like going to the activities, if there are activities, and getting to know the other ladies, which hopefully she can, and putting her energy into that, which is an important thing to be able to become integrated at a dementia unit. So I've written these two books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both from a dementia unit, both on Amazon and in my website description below. So thank you for your viewing and your comments and your interest, and please pass on these links to people that are working with dementia or who have a family member where they're helping someone who has dementia. Thank you.